Hello ladies and gentlemen, in this video we are going to cover the most important questions of January 2020. So now let's start. According to the recent study conducted by Swiss bank Julius Baer, which is the most expensive city of the world for luxury goods. So recently Swiss bank Julius Baer has conducted a study, and as per them, Hong Kong is the most expensive city for the selected luxury goods, and Asia is considered to be the most expensive continent, as Hong Kong is on first position, while Shanghai is on second, Tokyo on third, and Singapore on fifth position. Now, Hong Kong was also in news as recently Union Cabinet approved the proposal for recycling of ships bill. In addition to that, the Cabinet also approved the Hong Kong Convention for safe recycling of ships. The country's first of its kind exhibition on Indian heritage in digital space was inaugurated in which city? So it was inaugurated in New Delhi, and recently Union Culture Minister Mr. Prahlad Singh Patel inaugurated this country's first of its kind special exhibition on Indian heritage in digital space. Apart from that, the first International Heritage Symposium held in New Delhi. Union Culture Minister is Mr. Prahlad Singh Patel. The 7th Conference of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association was organized in which city? So this held in Lucknow, and it was inaugurated by Lok Sabha Speaker Mr. Om Birla, and the theme of this event was Role of Legislatures. Now, Lucknow was also in news as recently Health ATM was installed at Lucknow railway station. In addition to that, Lucknow is going to be the host of this year's Defense Expo. Also, the recent AIPSC, that is All India Police Science Congress, held in Lucknow, and Ms. Kiran Bedi was the chief guest for this event. She is the LG of Puducherry. LG stands for Lieutenant Governor. Lucknow was also in news as recently on the occasion of Good Governance Day, that is 25th of December, Prime Minister Mr. Modi unveiled a statue of former Prime Minister Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Good Governance Day is celebrated on 25th of December, and on this occasion, Good Governance Index was released. How many Indian astronauts have been selected for India's first human space mission? So 4 astronauts who are from IAF, that is Indian Air Force, were selected for the first human space mission of India. And these 4 astronauts will undergo a training in Russia for 11 months. And after that training phase, these astronauts will be trained in simulation of a crew and service module in India. Now, before this first manned mission, ISRO, that is Indian Space Research Organization, is going to send humanoid to space by the end of 2020. Now, ISRO is Indian Space Research Organization. ISRO chairman is Dr. K. Sivan. It is under Department of Space. Headquarters is in Bengaluru in Karnataka. Which cricketer was named as the captain of ICC's ODI and Test teams of the year? So recently, ICC announced ODI and Test team, and Mr. Virat Kohli has been named as the captain of both ODI as well as Test team of the year. Apart from that, only Mr. Mayank Agarwal found place in ICC Test team. That means Mayank Agarwal is second Indian to get a place in this ICC Test team. Virat Kohli is the captain, and in ICC one-day team, Mr. Rohit Sharma, Mr. Mohammad Sami, and Mr. Kuldeep Yadav found the spot. ICC stands for International Cricket Council. Headquarters is in Dubai. Dubai is in UAE. Capital of UAE is Abu Dhabi. The recent conference of IORA held in UAE. IORA stands for Indian Ocean Rim Association, and UAE became the president of IORA for 2 years. Bangladesh became the vice president. The United States recently signed the first phase of historic trade deal with which country? So recently, US signed the first phase of historic trade deal with China. Now, before this trade deal, USA drops the designation of China as currency manipulator. That means previously US designated China as the currency manipulator. However, before this trade deal, US dropped that designation. Now USA was also in news as recently US President Mr. Donald Trump launched US Space Force officially. In addition to that, USA was also in news as US House of Representatives passed a resolution and submitted the articles of impeachment against Mr. Trump, and these articles were sent to Senate. Senate is the upper house of US Parliament. Like we have Rajya Sabha, they have Senate. So this resolution was sent to Senate for the removal of Mr. Donald Trump from his office. Now, it should be kept in mind that in case of USA, all the states have equal representation in Senate. We have representation based on the population, while in USA it is fixed. Each state has 2 seats. So the total strength of Senate is 100. Now answer in comment box, which article of Indian Constitution contains the provision for the impeachment of President of India? Alok Kansal has been recently appointed as the General Manager of Western Railway. Where is the headquarters of Western Railways? So recently, Mr. Alok Kansal has been appointed as the General Manager of Western Railway Zone. The previous General Manager was Mr. Anil Kumar Gupta, and the headquarters of Western Railways is in Mumbai. Now, if we talk about railways, recently, Chairman of Railway Board, Mr. V.K. Yadav, was given an extension of 1 more year. That means Mr. V.K. Yadav is going to be the chairman for 1 more year. He is the chairman of Railway Board. Apart from that, Railways was also in news as recently RPF, that is Railway Protection Force, was renamed as IRPFS, that is Indian Railways Protection Force Service. Present Railway Minister is Mr. Piyush Goyal. Which technology company has recently launched the new version of its Edge Chromium browser for both Mac and Windows platforms? So recently, Microsoft announced the launch of new Edge Chromium browser for both Mac and Windows platforms, and this Edge will have features similar to those of Chrome browser. Chrome browser is by Google. Now recently, one search engine was in news and it is OneSearch. Answer in comment box, this OneSearch has been launched by which company? The entire government of which country resigned recently after the constitutional amendments announced by its president? So recently, the president of Russia announced certain constitutional amendments that would extend his powers beyond presidency, and therefore the entire government of Russia resigned, including the Prime Minister of Russia, Mr. Dmitry Medvedev. After his resignation, Mr. Mikhail Mishustin was named as the Prime Minister, and recently Russian Assembly, which is known as Duma, approved Mr. Mikhail as the new Prime Minister. The President of Russia is Mr. Putin. Recently, Russia was also in news as Russia announced that all S-400 air defense missile systems will be delivered to India by 2025. That means Russia is going to deliver all S-400 air defense missile systems as per the agreement by 2025. Russia was also in news because of power of Siberia. It is a gas pipeline between Russia and China, and recently it was in news as the President of Russia and President of China inaugurated this gas pipeline. Which Union Territory of India recently hosted the first ever Food Processing Summit? So it was hosted by the newly created Union Territory of Ladakh. Ladakh was created after the bifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir into 2 Union Territory. One is Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, another one is Ladakh. The bifurcation was done on the occasion of birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, that is 31st of October. It is celebrated as National Unity Day. Now recently, 2 more Union Territories were in news, that is Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli will be merged, and this merger would be effective from 26th of January 2020. The Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory is Mr. G.C. Murmu, while Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh Union Territory is Mr. R.K. Mathur. According to the recent Global Risk Report of World Economic Forum, which is the biggest long-term risk. So recently, WEF released the 15th edition of Global Risk Report, and for the first time, in the history, climate threats accounted for all of the top long-term risk in the report. So climate threat is the biggest long-term risk as per this report. World Economic Forum was also in news as recently it released gender gap report. As per that report, India is on 112nd position. Bangladesh is on 50th position and it is the top performing country in South Asia. Apart from that, World Economic Forum was also in news because of Global Competitiveness Index, and this index is topped by Singapore. Answer in comment box what is India's rank as per this Global Competitiveness Index. Alejandro Giamatti was sworn in as the president of which Latin American country? Right answer is Guatemala. So recently, Mr. Alejandro Giamatti was sworn in as the president of Guatemala. The former president of Guatemala was Mr. Jimmy Morales. Now, if we talk about Guatemala, it is a Latin American country. The official language is Spanish and the capital is Guatemala City. Currency is Quetzal. Which ministry has recently launched the Cybersecurity Grand Challenge Award? So, it is an initiative by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and for this, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has collaborated with DSCI, that is Data Security Council of India. Now, if we talk about cybersecurity, recently Union Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah launched I4C, that is Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, and in addition to that, a National Cyber Crime Reporting portal was also launched through which people can report cyber crimes online. Apart from that, recently Union Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah launched Cyber Aswasth. It was launched in Gujarat and it is an initiative of Gujarat Police, and this project was created as a helpline for victims affected by cyber crimes. Which Indian private bank has launched an API banking portal with the highest number of virtual application programming interfaces? So this API stands for Application Programming Interfaces. So recently, ICSI launched an API banking portal with 250 virtual application programming interfaces, and this is maximum API clubbed by any Indian bank. And through this API banking platform, the partner companies can customize and co-create applications of their choice. If we talk about ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank and SBI are DSIB, that is Domestic Systematically Important Banks, and these are announced by RBI. RBI stands for Reserve Bank of India. Present governor is Mr. Shaktikant Das, and recently Mr. Michael Patra was appointed as the Deputy Governor of RBI. RBI has 4 Deputy Governors. So one is Mr. Michael Patra, who was recently appointed. Another one is Mr. N.S. Vishwanathan, Mr. B.P. Kanungo, and Mr. M.K. Jain. Which state recently launched a state-wide helpline for labourers called E-Shramik Samadhan? So recently, Odisha Chief Minister Mr. Naveen Patnaik launched the statewide helpline for labourers called E-Shramik Samadhan. In addition to that, he also announced a state corpus fund of 500 crore rupees so that the payment given under Mahatma Gandhi Narega scheme will be on time. So this E-Shramik Samadhan initiative is by Odisha government. And recently Odisha was in news as the Kalia scheme of Odisha will be merged with PM Kisan Yojana. Kalia stands for Krishak Assistance for Livelihood and Income Augmentation Scheme, and PM Kisan stands for Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana. Apart from that, Odisha was also in news because of Abadha scheme. It is a scheme to transform Puri into a world-class city. The full form of Abadha is Augmentation of Basic Amenities and Development of Heritage and Architecture. Which country is to set up its new research base, Commandant Ferraz Antarctic Station in Antarctica? So recently, Brazil announced that it would open its new research base in Antarctica. Actually, the original research base of Brazil was destroyed by a fire in 2012. Now, if we talk about Brazil, the president of Brazil is Mr. Jair Bolsonaro, and he is going to be the chief guest of Republic Day ceremony. Brazil was also in news as it was the host of recent BRICS summit. Now, coming back to this Republic Day ceremony, this year, Captain Tanya Sergil will be the first woman to become the Republic Day Parade Adjutant, which is the first Indian state to sign a Memorandum of Understanding with IUCN to prepare a Red List assessment of orchids. So recently, Arunachal Pradesh became the first state of India to do so. Actually, IUCN Red List is a list of threatened species of flora and fauna. That means of plants and animals. Now, for the first time, an Indian state has signed this Memorandum of Understanding with IUCN to prepare a Red List assessment of orchids. Now, the first orchid census of India was conducted by Botanical Survey of India, and as per that survey, Arunachal Pradesh have highest species of orchids. Now, Arunachal Pradesh was also in news as recently the first Hindi newspaper of Arunachal Pradesh was launched, and the name of this newspaper is Arun Bhumi. Arunachal Pradesh was also in news as recently the Legislative Assembly of Arunachal Pradesh adopted new logo, and this logo consists of national emblem and the state flower of Arunachal Pradesh, and the state flower is foxtail orchid. The cabinet of which state recently approved a commissionerate system of policing to give more powers to the police officers, and this is to be implemented in 2 cities of this state. So right answer is Uttar Pradesh, and recently Uttar Pradesh cabinet approved implementation of the commissionerate system in 2 cities. One is Lucknow and another one is Noida. So the commissionerate system would be implemented in these 2 cities, and for that recently IPS officer Mr. Sujit Pandey was appointed as the Commissioner of Lucknow, and Mr. Alok Singh was appointed as the Commissioner of Noida. Now, if we talk about police, India's first Central Police University will be in Greater Noida. Apart from that, recently the All India Police Science Congress held in Lucknow, and recently a list of best police stations was released, and as per that list, Aberdeen Police Station in Andaman and Nicobar Islands is the best police station of India. The Central Adoption Resource Authority, that is CARA, recently celebrated its 5th annual day. CARA is a statutory body of which ministry? So it is a statutory body of Ministry of Women and Child Development, and it is the nodal body for the adoption of children. Now, it should be kept in mind that in 2003, India ratified the Hague Convention for inter-country adoption. Now, recently CARA was in news as it celebrated its 5th annual day. The present Minister of Women and Child Development is Ms. Smriti Irani. Her constituency is Amethi. Amethi is in Uttar Pradesh. Which Indian entrepreneur was recently honoured with Australia's highest civilian honour, Order of Australia? So recently, the founder and chairperson of Biocon, Ms. Kiran Majumdar's show, was honoured with the Australia's highest civilian honour, Order of Australia, and she is the 4th Indian citizen to receive this honour after Mother Teresa and after former Attorney General Mr. Soli Sorabji and Mr. Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar. So she became the 4th Indian to receive this Australia's highest civilian honour. If we talk about Australia, recently Australia was in news as Australia declared emergency in New South Wales because of heat waves. The Prime Minister of Australia is Mr. Scott Morrison, and recently Anumula Gitesh Sharma has been appointed as India's next High Commissioner to Australia. Australia is also the part of Quad. Quad stands for Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, and Australia, US, Japan and India are the part of this Quad. Recently, revised National TB Control Program was renamed. So what exactly is the new name? So Health Ministry recently renamed the RNTCP, that is Revised National TB Control Program, and the new name is National Tuberculosis Elimination Program, that is NTEP. Now, if we talk about TB, it is tuberculosis, and World TB Day is observed on 24th of March. And in order to reach out to the every TB patient, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare had launched TB Harega Desh Jeetega campaign. Apart from that, recently WHO, that is World Health Organization, endorsed a technology developed by Indian scientists to detect TB, and this name of this technology is TrueNet MTB. So this has been developed by Indian scientists and recently it was endorsed by WHO. Bapu Nadkarni, who passed away recently, was associated to which field? So he was associated to cricket, and he was well known left arm spinner and all-rounder who played for India in international cricket matches. He passed away recently. Which famous international company is to release its original film named The Banker? So Apple is going to release this movie named The Banker. Now, if we talk about Apple, recently France imposed GAFA tax on digital companies. GAFA stands for Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon. So France decided to impose 3% tax on these companies on the revenue generated in the country. Now, a similar web tax was imposed by Italy and it became effective from 1st of January 2020. Now, Italy was also in news as it is going to be the host of 2026 Winter Olympic Games. The 2022 Winter Olympic Games will be hosted by China, while the 2020 Summer Olympic Games will be in Japan and 2024 Summer Olympic Games will be in France. Which Indian wrestler won the gold medal at Rome Ranking Series 2020 event that held recently? So recently, Ms. Vinesh Phogat won the gold medal in 53 kg category at Rome Ranking Series 2020, and Ms. Vinesh Phogat is a well-known wrestler. The birth rate of which country fell to the lowest since the founding of country 7 decades ago? Right answer is China. So as per the official data from China, the country's birth rate fell to the lowest since 1949. In 1949, China was founded as People's Republic of China. Now, as per the population estimations of United Nations, India is going to overtake China in terms of population by 2027. Now, China was also in news as recently China introduced mandatory face scans for phone users. China was also in news as recently US and China signed the phase 1 of US-China trade agreement. And before this deal, USA declared that China is no more a currency manipulator. Previously, USA had designated that China is a currency manipulator. US was also in news because of US Space Force as President Trump officially launched US Space Force recently. The 6.5 kilometer long Jadmore tunnel, which was seen in news recently, is to be constructed in which state or union territory? So this tunnel is to be built in Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory, and recently a Memorandum of Understanding was signed in this regard in the presence of Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Mr. Nitin Gadkari. So it will be situated in Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. The Lieutenant Governor of Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir is Mr. G.C. Moore. Now, if we talk about Mr. Nitin Gadkari, he is the Minister of Road Transport and Highway, and recently the proposal of Ministry of Road Transport and Highways was approved by Union Cabinet for the establishment of Infrastructure Investment Trust. So this INVIT stands for Infrastructure Investment Trust. Now, the constituency of Mr. Nitin Gadkari is Nagpur. Nagpur is in Maharashtra, and the Chief Minister of Maharashtra is Mr. Uddhav Thackeray. Nagpur was also in news as recently Nagpur resolution was adopted. Answer in comment box what is the objective of this resolution. The passengers returning from which country are to be screened for novel coronavirus, that is nCoV, in selected Indian airports. So China is hit by a new viral disease, novel coronavirus, and that is why Ministry of Health and Family Welfare instructed the airport authorities of Delhi, Mumbai and Kolkata to screen the passengers returning from China and to check through thermal scanners if they carry the virus. Now, if we talk about coronavirus were first found in humans in 1960s, and these viruses cause flu and gastrointestinal intestinal problems. The Apna Urea Sona Ugle brand of Hindustan Urvarak and Rasayan Limited was recently launched by which Union Minister? Right answer is Mr. D.V. Sadanand Gowda. So Union Chemical and Fertilizer Minister Mr. D.V. Sadanand Gowda recently launched Apna Urea Sona Ugle brand and logo of HURL, that is Hindustan Urvarak and Rasayan Limited. Now this HURL is the joint company which is promoted by 3 PSU, that is Coal India Limited, NTPC and Indian Oil Corporation Limited. Now recently HURL was in news as it has undertaken the revival process of 3 sick urea plants. That means these 3 urea plants will be revived. So these 3 plants are Gorakhpur in Uttar Pradesh, Barauni in Bihar and Sinderi in Jharkhand. China's Great Wall Motors is set to acquire the manufacturing plant of which automobile company located in Maharashtra? So China's leading automobile manufacturer Great Wall Motors has signed an agreement with American manufacturer General Motors to acquire the manufacturing plant of General Motors which is located in Maharashtra. Now, it should be kept in mind that General Motors announced that Chevrolet Sales India will continue as an independent entity. Actually, this Chevrolet Sales is the sales arm of this General Motors. So GVM is entity of China, GM is entity of USA, and recently MOU was signed between these two groups. Who was recently conferred the prestigious ICSI Lifetime Achievement Award for 2020 by the Institute of Company Secretaries of India? Right answer is Ms. Indu Jain. So the chairperson of Bennett, Coleman and Company, Ms. Indu Jain, won the prestigious ICSI Lifetime Achievement Award. ICSI stands for Institute of Company Secretaries of India. And this award was graced by Minister of State for Finance, Mr. Anurag Thakur, and former CGI, Mr. Deepak Mishra. If we talk about Finance Minister, present Finance Minister is Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman and Minister of State is Mr. Anurag Thakur. If we talk about present Chief Justice of India, Mr. Sarad Arvind Bobde is the present Chief Justice of India. He is the 47th CGI. Answer in comment box who was the first Chief Justice of India. Constituency of Mr. Anurag Thakur is Hamirpur in Himachal Pradesh. Who was recently appointed as the new Prime Minister of Russia? So recently Mr. Mikhail Mishustin was appointed as the new Prime Minister of Russia. Actually, recently the entire government of Russia, including the Prime Minister Mr. Dmitry Medvedev, resigned following the constitutional reforms proposed by Russian President Mr. Putin. And therefore, the new Prime Minister was appointed. And new Prime Minister is Mr. Mikhail Mishustin. If we talk about Russia, recently Russia was in news because of avant-garde hypersonic missile. Russia was also in news as it was a focus country for International Film Festival of India. This film festival held in Goa. Apart from that, Russia was also in news as recently WADA, that is World Anti-Doping Agency, banned Russia for 4 years because of doping. Now WADA is World Anti-Doping Agency. At national level we have NADA, that is National Anti-Doping Agency. And recently Mr. Sunil Sethi was appointed as the brand ambassador of NADA. Who is the author of book The Winning Sixer, which was recently released? So former Indian cricketer and current head coach of national women's team, Mr. W.V. Raman, is the author of this book, The Winning Sixer, Leadership Lessons to Master. And this book was recently released by Mr. Anil Kumble in the presence of Mr. Rahul Dravid and Ms. Mithali Raj. Apart from that, recently one more book was in news, Asa and the Spirit Bird. Answer in comment box who is the author of this book. This book recently won the UK Children's Book Award. The S-400 air defense missile system will be delivered to India by which country? We have already discussed this question yesterday, so it will be delivered by Russia. Which multinational company has recently announced that it would create 1 million jobs in India by 2025? So recently, the head of Amazon, Mr. Jeff Bezos, was in India, and he announced that Amazon would invest in India to create 1 million jobs by 2025. Amazon had decided to invest $1 billion to digitize the small and medium enterprises in India. Apart from that, Amazon was also in news because of Project Zero. The objective of Project Zero is to prevent the selling of fake goods through online platform. In addition to that, Amazon was also in news as recently India's first audio service Sona was launched, and this was launched by Audible. Audible is the part of Amazon. Which country is to play host to the ICC Under 19 World Cup 2020 tournament? So South Africa is going to be the host of this year's Under 19 2020 tournament, and Indian team will be led by Mr. Priyam Garg. India is the current defending champion of Under 19 World Cup, and India has won this championship 4 times. Which Indian tennis player recently won the WTA Hobart International Doubles title along with the partner Nadia Kichenok? Right answer is Ms. Sania Mirza. So recently, Ms. Sania Mirza won the WTA Hobart International Doubles title along with her partner Nadia. Nadia is from Ukraine. 222 Squadron, the first Sukhoi 30 MKI equipped squadron, is to operate from Thanjavur Air Force Station. Now the question is, this Thanjavur Air Force Station is situated in which state of India? So it is in Tamil Nadu. So the 222 Squadron with its Sukhoi 30 MKI fighters will be the part of Southern Air Command, and it will operate from Thanjavur Air Force Station in Tamil Nadu. If we talk about Tamil Nadu, recently Tamil Nadu was awarded the best state in reducing road accidents. Apart from that, Tamil Nadu was also in news as it became the first state in India to enact a law on contract farming. Apart from that, Tamil Nadu was also in news as it honored ISRO chairman Dr. K. Sivan with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award. What is the name of India's first e-commerce housing portal launched by National Real Estate Development Council? Right answer is housingforall.com. So recently, National Real Estate Development Council announced the India's first e-commerce housing portal, and the name of this portal is housingforall.com. The portal was launched by the Secretary of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and the Secretary is Durga Shankar Mishra. Now, if we talk about real estate sector, there is RERA, that is Real Estate Regulatory Authority. Recently, Kerala launched KRERA, that is Real Estate Regulatory Authority for Kerala. Kerala was also in news as it passed a resolution against CAA. In addition to Kerala, recently Punjab State Assembly also passed a resolution against CAA. Kerala also approached Supreme Court regarding CAA using Article 131 of Indian Constitution. Now there is a special video on this topic, you can watch that. Who is to lead the Indian delegation to the 50th World Economic Forum meeting, which is to be held at Davos? So Mr. Piyush Goyal is going to be the head of Indian delegation for the 50th World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, and Mr. Piyush Goyal will be accompanied by Minister of State for Chemical and Fertilizers, Mr. Mansukh Mandavia. Remember, he is Minister of State. In addition to him, Mr. Piyush Goyal will be accompanied by the Chief Ministers of Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka. And the theme of this year's World Economic Forum's meeting is Stakeholders for a Cohesive and Sustainable Development, for a Cohesive and Sustainable World. Which famous international tennis tournament is organized in the month of January every year? So, Australian Open is the first of the 4 Grand Slam tournaments, and it is organized every year in the month of January. So, there are 4 Grand Slams: French Open, Australian Open, Wimbledon and US Open. Now, Australian Open and US Open are played on hard courts. Wimbledon is played on grass and French Open is played on clay court. It should be kept in mind that Wimbledon is the oldest. Which state recently organized the world's longest awareness human chain for more than 1,000 kilometers. So recently, Bihar organized this world's longest awareness human chain under its Jal Jeevan Haryali campaign, and in this campaign approximately 5 crore people participated. Now this human chain was organized to create awareness on certain issues related to climate change and certain social issues like dowry, child marriage, etc. The Chief Minister of Bihar is Mr. Nitish Kumar, and recently Bihar was in news as Niti Aayog released SDG India Index, and this was released by Niti Aayog. Now Bihar was in news because Bihar was the worst performer as per this SDG India Index. The score of Bihar was 50 and Bihar was worst performer, while Uttar Pradesh has shown maximum improvement. The index was topped by Kerala with the score of 70, and in case of Union Territories, Chandigarh topped the index. Now answer in comment box what is India's composite score as per this SDG India Index. Which Indian city has been adjudged as the world's most dynamic city as per the JLL City Monument Index 2020? As per the JLL City Momentum Index 2020. Right answer is Hyderabad. So Hyderabad was recently adjudged as the world's most dynamic city as per this JLL City Momentum Index. Now this JLL is a US based real estate company. Now for real estate we have RERA. Answer in comment box what is the full form of this RERA. So as per this City Momentum Index, Hyderabad is on first position while Bengaluru is on second position. Chennai is at fifth position and Delhi is on sixth position. So India leads this index with 7 cities being placed in the top 20. Which country recently test fired a nuclear capable ballistic missile named K4 which can be launched from submarine? So recently India has successfully test fired nuclear capable missile from the coast of Andhra Pradesh. Now the name of this ballistic missile is K4 and it can be launched from a submarine, and this missile is developed by DRDO, and this missile can be fitted into Arihant class submarines. Now if we talk about Arihant, it is India's first nuclear powered submarine. If we talk about DRDO, it is Defense Research and Development Organization. It is under Ministry of Defense. The chief of DRDO is Mr. G. Satish Reddy. Recently DRDO was in news as the Igniter complex of DRDO was inaugurated in Pune in Maharashtra. Apart from that, recently Dr. G. Satish Reddy was conferred honorary fellowship by Royal Aeronautical Society. Recently Ministry of Defense was in news as a new department was created in Ministry of Defense, and this department is DMA, that is Department of Military Affairs. Answer in comment box who is going to be the head of this DMA. Recently 146 Irrawaddy dolphins were spotted in Chilka Lake. Now the question is, Chilka Lake is situated in which state or union territory? So Chilka Lake is the largest brackish water lake of India and it is situated in Odisha. And recently it was in news because of Irrawaddy dolphins. And recently Chilka Development Authority, that is CDA, undertook the dolphin census and found 146 Irrawaddy dolphins. Now answer in comment box what is the aquatic animal of India. Now if we talk about Chilka Lake, it is Asia's largest and world's second largest lagoon, and it was the first Indian wetland site that was designated under Ramsar Convention. Now Ramsar Convention is related to wetland conservation. Ramsar is a site in Iran. Recently Iran was in news as Military General of Iran, Mr. Qasim Soleimani, was killed in US airstrikes. Iran was also in news as recently Iran decided not to follow the terms of JCPOA. Answer in comment box what is the full form of JCPOA. Which state is to set up a committee to suggest measures to improve forest tourism? So recently Maharashtra government has decided to set up a committee to suggest measures to increase the number of visitors to the state forest area, and therefore this decision was taken, and this decision was taken at a meeting that was chaired by Mr. Aditya Thackeray. he is the Tourism Minister of State of Maharashtra. His father, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, is the Chief Minister of State, and Mr. Bhagat Singh Koshari is the Governor of the state. Now recently Maharashtra was in news as Maharashtra government launched Cyber Safety Women Initiative. Apart from that, if we talk about cyber safety, recently Union Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah launched I4C initiative, that is Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center. Apart from that, Mr. Amit Shah was also in news as he launched Aswasth and Vishwas initiative of Gujarat Police. Now both these initiatives are related to cybersecurity. The Union Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah is set to launch Polnet 2.0 platform. What is the Polnet 2.0? Means it is associated to which field? Right answer is Police Network Service. So it is associated to Police Network Service, and Mr. Amit Shah launched this platform at the National Conference of Heads of Public Protection and Disaster Relief Organizations, and this conference held in New Delhi, and during this conference this Polnet 2.0 was launched. It is associated to Police Network Service. Now if we talk about police, recently All India Police Science Congress held in Lucknow. Lucknow is in Uttar Pradesh, and recently Uttar Pradesh government decided to set up police commissionerate system in Lucknow and in Noida. Apart from that, if we talk about police, recently Kolkata Police launched the third edition of Sukanya project. Answer in comment box, what is the objective of this project? What is the name of exhibition of Indian electrical industry that was recently inaugurated by Union Minister of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises? Right answer is Electrama. The Union Minister of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises and Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Mr. Prakash Javadekar, inaugurated this Electrama. It is an exhibition conference in the field of Indian electrical industry, and this is organized once in every 2 years, and this was organized in Greater Noida. Greater Noida is in Uttar Pradesh, and recently MHA decided to set up National Police University in Greater Noida. Now if we talk about MHA, present Home Minister is Mr. Amit Shah, and recently he was in news as Mr. Amit Shah presided over the agreement related to Bru community for the settlement of Bru refugees in Tripura. Now I have uploaded a special video on this topic, you can watch that. What is the name of female actor who won the Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in Motion Picture Award in the Screen Actors Guild Awards? Right answer is Renee Zellweger. So Renee Zellweger won this award in the female category for her movie Judy. On the other hand, in male category, Mr. Joaquin Phoenix won the award for his character in Joker movie. And the South Korean film Parasite became the first foreign language film to win the award for Best Performance by a Cast. So Parasite is a South Korean film. Which state cabinet has recently approved the proposal for creating 3 capitals for the state? So recently Andhra Pradesh cabinet has approved the proposal to create 3 state capitals for the decentralized development in the state. Now these 3 capitals are Amravati, it is going to be the legislative capital, while Visakhapatnam is going to be the executive capital, and Kurnool is going to be the judicial capital. If we talk about Andhra Pradesh, state was also in news because of Disha Act. It has stringent provisions for the crime against women. Apart from that, Andhra Pradesh was also in news because of its decision to deliver sand at doorsteps to prevent sand smuggling. Apart from that, the state was also in news because of Nadu Nedu scheme. Answer in comment box, what is the objective of this scheme? Which telecom service provider recently partnered with Google Cloud to enhance its services to the Indian businessman? So recently, Bharti Airtel and Google announced a partnership, and through this partnership, Airtel will be able to offer G Suite to the small and medium-sized businesses in our country. Now G Suite is a set of applications developed by Google. What is the theme of NIC Tech Conclave 2020 organized by NIC? NIC stands for National Informatics Center. Right answer is technologies for next gen governance. So Union Minister for Electronics and Information Technology, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, inaugurated the second edition of NIC Tech Conclave 2020 in New Delhi. And this conclave was organized by NIC. And the theme was Technologies for Next Gen Governance. Now, if we talk about Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, his constituency is Patna Sahib. If we talk about NIC, recently NIC was in news as it has set up the Center of Excellence in Blockchain Technology in Bengaluru. Bengaluru is in Karnataka. Now answer in comment box, NIC is under which union ministry? Recently Karnataka was in news as it topped the India Innovation Index. The index was prepared by Niti Aayog. Which union minister is recently elected as the president of Archery Association of India? So recently Mr. Arjun Munda, who is the present Union Minister of Tribal Affairs, was elected as the president of Archery Association of India. Now it should be kept in mind that last year in August, the World Archery Association suspended Archery Association of India. Why? Because AAI conducted parallel elections in Delhi and Chandigarh. That means there was a power tussle in AAI, and because of that political interference, World Archery suspended Archery Association of India. And recently, the president of Indian Olympic Association, Mr. Narendra Batra, requested World Archery to lift the suspension on AAI so that it can start preparation for Tokyo Olympics. Tokyo is in Japan, and Japan is the host of 2020 Summer Olympic Games, while France is the host of 2024 Summer Olympic Games. Which Indian athlete won the ZV Raja Sports Award of Kerala government in the male category? Right answer is Mr. Mohammad Anas. So Indian sprinter and national record holder in 400 meters sprint Mohammad Anas was presented with the ZV Raja Award in the male category by the Kerala State Sports Council. Now, if we talk about Kerala, recently Kerala was in news as it became the first state to pass resolution against CAA, that is Citizenship Amendment Act. Apart from Kerala, recently Punjab also passed a resolution against Citizenship Amendment Act. Kerala also approached Supreme Court against this act through Article 131 of Indian Constitution. Now, if we talk about Citizenship Amendment Act, I have already uploaded a special video on this topic. You can watch that. Now, this act won't be applicable in the areas of 6th schedule as well as in the areas of inner line permit. And recently, Manipur was put in the areas of inner line permit. So, right now, 4 states are under ILP. These are Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram. All these 4 states share border boundary with Myanmar. Which Indian city plays host to the International Children's Film Festival? So Kolkata is the host of International Children's Film Festival, and this festival is organized by Sishu Kishore Akademi, and Kolkata International Film Festival is organized by this Sishu Kishore Akademi. Sunanda Patnaik, who passed away recently, was the veteran personality in which field? So she was the well-known classical singer, and she passed away recently, and she was popularly known as Guruma. She was from Odisha. Which badminton player recently clinched the Indonesia Masters title? Right answer is Ratchanek Intanon. So Miss Intanon won the Indonesia Masters title by defeating Miss Carolina Marin. Miss Carolina Marin is from Spain, while Miss Intanon is from Thailand. President of Indonesia is Mr. Joko Widodo, and Samudra Shakti is the bilateral exercise between Indian Navy and Indonesian Navy. Which organization recently commissioned the first phase of real-time train information system for Indian Railways? Right answer is BEL, that is Bharat Electronics Limited. So BEL recently commissioned the first phase of real-time train information system for Indian Railways. So this RTIS is commissioned by BEL, and RTIS provide a real-time information about the position of locomotives to the railways. Now, if we talk about Indian Railways, recently Mr. VK Yadav has been given the extension of 1 more year as the chairman of Railway Board. Apart from that, recently RPF was renamed as Indian Railway Protection Force Service. In addition to that, recently Railway Minister Mr. Piyush Goyal announced that Indian Railways will be net zero carbon emitter by 2030. Mr. Piyush Goyal was also in news as he is going to lead the Indian delegation for World Economic Forum meet in Davos. Ro Tai Moon was recently appointed as the chief of mobile phone division of which famous company? Right answer is Samsung. So Mr. Moon was recently appointed as chief of mobile division of Samsung. Samsung is a South Korean company. Which is the most polluted city in India as per the report by Greenpeace? So Greenpeace is an environmental NGO and recently it released a report, and as per that report, Jharia in Jharkhand is the most polluted city of India and Dhanbad in Jharkhand is on second position. Now the report also revealed that 6 of the country's top 10 most polluted cities are in the state of Uttar Pradesh, while a city of Mizoram, Longlai, is the least polluted city and it is the only city where PM levels, that is particulate matter levels, are within the prescribed limit of WHO. So pollution is a serious issue for our country. Now Greenpeace is environmental NGO and the headquarters of Greenpeace is in Amsterdam. It is in Netherlands, and recently Netherlands decided to leave its name Holland. Mizoram was also in news because of the agreement related to Bru community. It was an agreement between central government, state governments of Tripura and Mizoram and the representatives of Bru community. I have uploaded a special video on this topic, you can watch that. Which state is the first in the country to implement agricultural land leasing policy? So recently, Uttarakhand government released a notification that it has made a policy to lease the agricultural land and therefore it became the first state in India to do so. So as per the policy, any institution, a company or NGO can take agricultural land for 30 years on lease, provided that the leased land is below 30 acres. So if this agricultural land is below 30 acres, then any company or any NGO can take it for lease for 30 years and they will have to pay the rent to the farmer. Now Uttarakhand was also in news because of Urjagiri campaign of the state to stop power theft. The Chief Minister of Uttarakhand is Mr. Trivendra Singh Rawat, and recently Tamil Nadu became the first state to enact a law on contract farming. So Tamil Nadu is the first state to have a law on contract farming, while Uttarakhand is the first state to have a policy on the lease of agricultural land. What is the name of the indigenous artillery guns which are to be inducted into Indian Army? So 18 indigenous upgraded Sarang military guns are to be inducted into Indian Army, and the barrel of these indigenously designed gun has been upgraded from 130 mm to 155 mm, and therefore the hitting range of this gun increased from 12 km to 39 km. So this Sarang artillery guns will be inducted into Indian Army. Now if we talk about Indian Army, 15th of January is celebrated as Army Day, as on this day Field Marshal K.M. Kariappa became the first Indian Army Chief of Independent India in 1949. Present Army Chief is General Manoj Mukund Narwane, and recently Lieutenant General S.K. Saini took over as the Vice Chief of Army Staff, and the previous Chief of Army Staff was General Bipin Rawat. He was appointed as the CDS recently. CDS stands for Chief of Defence Staff. It is a newly created post. Which Defence Force of India has recently signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Geological Survey of India? So Indian Navy signed an agreement for sharing the data of seabed. So this repository of data that was collected by GSI, that is Geological Survey of India, will be used by Indian Navy. Now if we talk about Geological Survey of India, it is under Ministry of Mines. It was founded in 1851 and the headquarters is in Kolkata, and present Minister of Mines is Mr. Prahlad Joshi. His constituency is Dharwad. Dharwad is in Karnataka. The National Bravery Awards for Children are presented by which ministry or organization annually? So it is presented by Indian Council for Child Welfare, and recently These awards were presented in New Delhi and 22 children were selected for these National Bravery Awards, and among them, one award was given posthumously. So the highest award, called Bharat Award, was conferred on a 15-year-old boy from Kerala, and his name is Mr. Aditya. He was given this award for saving more than 40 lives after a bus accident. So these awards are given by Indian Council for Child Welfare, and this council was formed in 1952. Apart from that, recently, President Mr. Ramnath Kovind presented Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puruskar to 49 kids. Now, it should be kept in mind that even though the name of award is Pradhan Mantri, the awards were presented by the President of India. And one such person who was awarded was Ms. Gauri Mishra. Answer in comment box C is associated to which field? Retired IAS officer Yudhvir Singh Malik has been recently appointed as the CMD of which crisis hit firm? Right answer is Unitech. So recently, Mr. Malik has been appointed as the CMD of Unitech. Actually, few days ago, Supreme Court directed the central government to take control of the management of Unitech and appoint a new board of directors. So as per the directions of Supreme Court, the center has replaced this board of Unitech. It is a realty firm. That means it works in the field of real estate sector. And the firm was reported of using flat bias money, default of delivery of flats. Which private sector bank launched cardless, cashless withdrawal facility from its ATMs? First thing first, what is the full form of ATM? Okay, right answer is ICICI Bank. So recently, ICICI Bank launched cardless withdrawal facility from its ATMs. The facility will be available throughout the day across all ATMs of ICICI Bank. And for this facility, the user or the customer need to log in into the ICICI mobile app, that is iMobile, and customer need to generate a temporary PIN. Now the customer can withdraw cash by entering this PIN into ATM. That means this PIN will be received as one-time password, and then this one-time password will help in the withdrawal of money. So the daily transaction limit is rupee 20,000. Now recently, SBI also started OTP based ATM cash withdrawals from 1st of January. Recently, SBI was also in news as Mr. C.A. Sethi was appointed as MD of SBI for next 3 years. As per the recent survey of Chief Executive Officers by the consultancy firm PwC, which country has the highest growth prospectus? So it is United States. So recently, consultancy firm PwC conducted a survey, and as per that survey, the US has the highest growth prospectus according to the CEOs. So it was a survey of CEO, that is Chief Executive Officers, while China is on second position as per this survey, USA is on first position, India is on fourth position. The recently set up National Startup Advisory Council is to be chaired by which Union Minister? So Minister of Commerce and Industry is going to be the chairperson of National Startup Advisory Council. Recently, Union government announced this council, and the council will advise the central government on the steps to be taken to create a environment for the startup companies. Now, Government of India has two schemes. One is Startup India, another is Stand Up India. Answer in comment box which is the nodal ministry for these schemes, and what is the objective of startup scheme and what is the objective of stand up scheme. So this National Startup Advisory Council will be headed by Union Commerce Minister, and it will have non-official members with 2-year term. Now the Ministry of Commerce and Industry was also in news as recently DPIIT under Commerce Ministry launched paperless licensing process for petroleum services. DPIIT stands for Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, and it is under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and DPIIT through PESO launched this facility of paperless licensing process for petroleum services. PESO stands for Petroleum and Explosives Safety Organization. India's first ever convention center in Africa was recently inaugurated in which African country? So recently, External Affairs Minister Mr. S. Jaishankar inaugurated the first ever convention center of India in Africa, and this was inaugurated in Niger. It should be kept in mind that this is the first ever visit by Indian Foreign Minister to the West African country. Niger was also in news as it was the host of African Union Summit which held last year. And for this, India also extended 15 million grant to Niger. Now Niger was also in news as recently 8 countries of West Africa have agreed to change the name of their common currency to ECO, and these countries are Benin, Togo, Guinea-Bissau, Ivory Coast, Mali, Niger, Senegal. Which country recently took over the chairmanship of G77 for 2020? So recently, Guyana took over the chairmanship of G77 for 2020 from Palestine. Palestine was the chair of G77 for 2019. Now, G77 is a group that was established in 1964 in Geneva, and it is the largest intergovernmental organization of developing nations in the United Nations. And this year, that means 2020, is the 75th anniversary of United Nations. It should be kept in mind that India is a member of this G77 grouping. The Secretary General of United Nations is Mr. Antonio Guterres. 1T.org, a platform to support and conserve 1 trillion trees around the world, was recently convened by which international organization? So recently, at the 50th World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, this 1T.org was launched to support and to conserve 1 trillion trees, and this plan was announced by the founder and executive chairman of WEF, Mr. Klaus Schwab. So it was the 50th meeting of WEF, and Indian delegation was led by Mr. Piyush Goyal. WEF was also in news as recently it released Global Social Mobility Report. As per that report, India is on 76th position, while the report was topped by Denmark. WEF was also in news as recently it released Global Risk Report. The Mauna Kea volcano, which was seen in news regarding the TMT, that is 30-meter telescope, is situated in which country? So right option is USA. Actually, Hawaii is in USA, and this is a state of USA, and it is located in the Pacific Ocean. So recently, this TMT was in news as the local people are protesting against this TMT. It is important to note that India is also a member of this collaboration, and India has committed 10% of the project resources for this TMT. And recently, this entire thing was in news because India announced that it would like the project to move to an alternate and appropriate place, as at current place it is being protested. So that is why it was in news. Now, this is the Hawaii. It is situated in Pacific Ocean, and this is the location of Mauna Kea volcano in the Hawaii state of USA. And this TMT is over this Mauna Kea volcano in Hawaii Islands. The 9th Nations Cup boxing tournament was held in which country? So it held in Serbia, and India performed well in this tournament. India finished the tournament with 6 medals, out of which 4 were silver and 2 were bronze. Capital of Serbia is Belgrade, and currency is Serbian dinar. Which state has been ranked first in the list of India's top 10 states for leadership in energy and environmental design, that is LEED. So Maharashtra is on the top position, and recently US-based certification agency GBC, that is Green Business Certification, released the list of India's top 10 states for LEED program. LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. So Maharashtra has been ranked at the top spot in the global green building rating system. Which Indian was recently named as the chairman of World Economic Forum's IT Governors Community? So recently, the head of HCL Technologies, Mr. C. Vijay Kumar, has been named as the chairman of World Economic Forum's IT governance community. So he is the President and CEO of HCL Technologies. Which Indian wrestler was recently inducted in the government's All India Council of Sports? So recently, AICS, that is All India Council of Sports, was reconstituted by Sports Ministry. Actually, it is an advisory body and recently it was reconstituted and the tenure of this body was extended to 3 years. Present President of the Council is Mr. V.K. Malhotra. And the number of members in this recently constituted council are 18. Previously, they were 27. And recently, new members were inducted in this council. These new members are Mr. Yogeshwar Dutt, Ms. Deepa Malik, and Ms. Bachendri Pal, among others. Katrina Seclero-Poulou was recently elected as the first female president of which country? So recently, she was elected as the president of Greece and she has worked as a top-level judge in the Greece. As per the constitution of Greece, the president is the commander-in-chief of armed forces of country. So she has been elected as the new president and she is going to hold the post for next 5 years. Recently, which country's prime minister, including his entire cabinet, resigned over the issue of proposed constitution amendment? Answer it in comment box. Which Indian state is set to use facial recognition software for its local body elections for the first time in our country? So Telangana is going to use facial recognition software for its local body elections and this is going to be the first time in our country. Now, if we talk about local elections, 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act are related to local elections. 73rd is related to PRI, that is Panchayati Raj institutions, while 74th Constitutional Amendment Act is related to ULB, that is urban local bodies. The Reserve Bank of India recently cancelled the authorization certificate of which famous payment system operator? So recently, RBI cancelled the certificate of authorization of Vodafone M-Pesa. Actually, Vodafone itself requested RBI to cancel it. Now RBI authorized the payment system operator to set up and operate in India under Payment and Settlement Systems Act of 2007. Now, if we talk about RBI, it is Reserve Bank of India and recently Mr. Michael Patra was appointed as the Deputy Governor of RBI. He is one of the 4 Deputy Governors. Other 3 Deputy Governors are Mr. N.S. Vishwanathan, Mr. B.P. Kanungo and Mr. M.K. Jain. RBI Governor is Mr. Shaktikant Das and he is the chairman of MPC. MPC is Monetary Policy Committee and it works to maintain the inflation within limits. Now answer in comment box who set the inflation target in our country, what is the present target and on the basis of which index these inflation targets are tracked. So these were the important questions. Thank you and that's all for the day.